I think we need to underline the responsibility of uh, countries and organizations that have caused this. One of the things that we hear a great deal of in the United States is that we should not separate immigrant families, right? Even those who come into the country illegally, we shouldn't separate their families. And yet, it sounds like there are legal and perhaps other barriers that are being thrown up that are forcing Assyrians to go to multiple countries, which, well, makes me wonder why them? Why are they being treated that way?
The excuse from UNHCR is that the quota per country is as such. That's what,
Mhm.
but honestly, 22,000 people is not a lot of people. Now,
No,
granted,
not compared to some of the immigrant uh, waves that the West has seen over the last 10 years.
exactly. Now, granted, on this 20-year anniversary of the invasion of Iraq, I must say that we were 1.5 million people,
Mhm.
the Assyrians, Chaldeans, and Syriacs of Iraq. Uh,
Mhm.
Today, we have about 80,000 people left.
Mhm.
In 20 years, what is that? 98%, 99% of people have
Something like that.
been
Yeah.
displaced. Um, so, so, so wave of migration began really since the invasion in 2003, 2004.
Mhm.
But these 22,000 people that are stuck there, they're literally stuck there. I've been visiting a lot of them since 2015.
Mhm.
And their children that were just born then are 6, 7 years old now, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and what I see, the age, how the years takes its toll on men
Mhm.
and women, on the parents. And a
Mhm.
lot of children have leukemia and Hodgkin's lymphoma,
Mhm.
breast cancer among women, colon cancer among men, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease,
Mhm.
malnutrition. I mean, it's, Pastor David, I have to tell you, we went from home to home. We
Mhm.
heard story after story for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And on the last interview that we had, I could not hold back my breakdown. I literally broke down during the last interview. They had to take me out of the room because, first of all, it's a guy that I've known. It's a family I've known since 2015. It's a family we've been assisting since 2015. There's a young child has cancer
Mhm.
in his brain and his eye doesn't see well. Oh, and his father was weeping. And this is in Jordan. And
Mhm.
his mother, the child's mother, was threatened by Muslim neighbors.
Mhm.
Um, and they had said that we will pave the streets with your blood and your daughter's blood. And we saw the window. Muslims had thrown stones and had broken the windows. So, I mean, story after story, and not just Christians. We had a Mandaean. Mandaeans are the ones who followed John the Baptist.
Yes.
Very successful community in Iraq. They've been decimated as well. Very
Mhm.
small numbers left, actually worldwide.
Mhm.
Mandaeans are indigenous to Iraq, like the Assyrians are.
Yes. Mhm.
Um, so hearing all these stories, and at the end, they had to interrupt the interview because the guy was crying. His name is Sarkis. He was crying, and I couldn't hold it. I started weeping loud.
Mhm.
They had to take me out of the room, and um, if I could really be able to bring these stories to life
Mhm.
through this film that ICRC is sponsoring, I
Mhm.
think we will make a difference.
Mhm.
Strategically, will make a difference for the
Mhm.
fate of these refugees.
Mhm.
We planned, if God wills it, our intent is to take this film, this documentary, to the
Mhm.
embassies in the world, to think tanks, to the NGOs in the world, um,
Mhm.
and really shed light on the forgotten people.
My goodness.
So we continue with the help of our donors.
Mhm.
Really need you, my
Mm.
friend. We really need you. I mean, we've never done anything like this before where
Mm.
I've come back from these trips, and I take multiple trips a year, as you know, to the region, but we've never had this reflective video that we do after the trips.
Mhm.
It's usually through images or through my words, but this trip was so different.
Mhm.
That I felt words will fail me in writing,
Mhm.
that I wanted you, our donors, our supporters, our friends, to really feel the pain of these people. You know, Elie Wiesel said, listening to a witness makes you a witness. I always quote this. And I bore witness to their suffering. And I'm bringing that to you, the words to you, the stories to you.
Mhm.
And as a storyteller, I would like for you to also become witnesses that these people need. So we really need you for the long haul in the lives of the refugees.
Mhm.
And we continue our service inside Iraq for those who are left behind. We can't
Mhm.
forget about them. We have to help provide medication to them and medical procedures or education or start small businesses for them in order for them not to always wait on the West to
Right.
give them. They have to be self-sustained, and that's the model that ICRC has. So
Mhm.
I didn't
Yeah.
let you ask questions, Pastor David. Sorry, I have a lot to say.
No, that's okay. I think it absolutely needs to be emphasized that to the extent that Assyrians are a forgotten people, and they are, there it seems like there's always someone uh, who winds up at the front of the line and pushes them back. To the extent that they are forgotten people, they have to rely on organizations like ICRC or Assyrian Aid Society or Assyrians Without Borders or others that know these stories intimately and understand their pain on a level that governments simply can't or won't, and that's part of the reason why our work is so important.
You know, you remind me of one of, or not one, my partner in Lebanon. She called me. I was still in Jordan. She called me and she said, I'm going to tell you. She said, I have such beautiful sentiments to relate to you.
Mhm.
And we were in a taxi going from a place to place. So I took the call and she said, people were so happy that you had sent this team
Mhm.
be the voice to, no one has ever done this before for the Assyrian refugees. So she was saying they were so elated. They called her in tears saying that we're not forgotten. We're not forgotten. This team came. My team members, his name is Joseph Yokana from Australia. He's my partner. He's our partner in this particular project.
Mhm.
He called me after to reflect, right? At the end of the day, after his interviews. And he said, you know, the heartache continues. I didn't know how bad Lebanon was.
Mhm.
And he said that a couple of those refugees came to him and said, I want to try to get through it without crying. He said, they told him, we know Juliana has not forgotten us.
Mhm.
We know she suffers with us, even though she is across the pond from
Mhm.
where we live, even though she hasn't come back to see us, and she probably won't be able to. But we know that she doesn't leave us and she understands our pain.
Mhm.
And this was, he cried and I cried.
Mhm.
Joseph cried and I cried.
Mhm.
I think it was so emotional for me to hear these because these people have nothing.
Mhm.
And knowing that there's someone's heart that beats for them,
Mhm.
that they still have hope in the Lord and they have hope in us
Mhm. Mhm.
is more encouraging for me to continue this. But we can't do this without the donors. We can't do this without churches. We can't do this without the foundations.
Yes.
So this is a tearful invitation,
Mhm.
all of you who
Mm.
don't want to forget your Eastern brothers and sisters,
Mhm.
want to stand with them until they find comfort, like
Mhm.
physical comfort here.
Mhm.
So during Lent, as we approach Easter, I ask you to fast and pray for them and get involved. Get involved with us. We can come to your churches. We can talk about our experiences. We can be their voice in your community.
Mhm.
And please, please consider continuing giving to us, because we're really on the front lines
Mhm.
and
Okay.
we do this work.
Mhm.
And it's important work that God
Mhm.
has left on our shoulders, and we can only do it with you.
Mhm.
Sorry, my heart is full, Pastor David.